So the community aspect of the CRC was paramount to my recovery. Like as a student in recovery, I was nervous about going back to school initially, but knowing there were a group of people who genuinely cared and understood what I was going through, just beyond the everyday stresses of school, the personal stressors as a person in recovery, being able to have a safe space to talk about that and even be able to laugh about some things was really cathartic and just gave me the motivation and inspiration to keep going.
The CRC is the Collegiate Recovery Community, and we're the club portion of a larger mission, the Collegiate Recovery Program, which is on campuses to help students who are in recovery just gain more resources and have a stable support system in their recovery.
So on paper, the main goal is to fulfill the pillars, support, advocacy, and community. But more of in reality, it's just to provide a warm and welcoming environment for people not only going through these kinds of issues or having people in their lives that go through it, but people that are just trying to support everyone and just all of the allies of people that might be in recovery.
And very often the allies are people who have been impacted in some way, very often through a family member or through a close friend. And so they understand what a substance use disorder is, and they want to be a part of the movement that is changing how people understand and perceive issues of addiction.
I've made a ton of friends and I've felt such a sense of community in the CRC because everyone is so warm and welcoming that you just feel like you're a part of something bigger than yourself that you can draw inspiration from to help you succeed in your everyday life.
My name is Jesse Dariano. I'm a person in long-term recovery, which means that I haven't found the need to have a drink or a drug in over 5 years. I'm a graduate student. I get to be a son today, a brother. I own a house, which is crazy. And I'm an active member in my community and in society. I was at an event at Camden County College. They had a panel discussion and they were talking about support services on college campuses and in the community, and they kept talking about CRCs. And I didn't know what that meant. It was the first time I heard about it, and it just sounded amazing, the way they were describing it as a community of people in recovery on campus. So that's when I was told about Chris Freeman, and the next day I went to his office and we started talking about what a CRC is, what the plan is for TCNJ, and how I can help.
My name is Eric. I'm a student in long-term recovery. I'm a person in long-term recovery. Really, I'm just another bozo on the bus, but they call me the co-president of the TCNJ CRC. It's no secret, right, that the numbers of people who self-identify as being in recovery, especially on a college campus, which most people find to be recovery hostile, are low. Right? We're talking less than 1% in some well-established collegiate recovery communities. Here at TCNJ, when I joined, the program was mostly new, only a couple years old, and even though it was small, the connections that we built were deep. As I became more involved with the CRC, I found a place where I felt like I belonged. There was other people like me. There was other people, allies, that didn't judge me. And even though it's very hard for me to get vulnerable and get close to somebody else, or other people in general, I started to break down those walls, and I've made true friends through this process.
You know, I was really scared when I first transferred to TCNJ, but I found that the CRC has been a really supportive place to come every week. We start each meeting by asking how everyone's week is going, and I just find it's like a really cool atmosphere to be in. It was a good way to meet friends. Originally, I'm really shy, so it was just great to have a group of people who really care about how we're doing.
I think that everybody has just things they can relate to. So like when we check in, for example, during our meetings, everybody can relate to an exam that didn't go so well, and everybody can relate to the joy of a snow day.
A common quote we live by here at the Collegiate Recovery Community is that recovery is best done in a community. So here we have people who are allies of recovery, people who are in recovery, we have our advisor, and we all care about the same genuine goal. So we always check in with each other, and we always rely on each other's energy to bring us up when we're having bad days.
I think that the sense of community that our recovery community has is absolutely amazing, and it's absolutely beautiful. We are relational beings. We grow in relationships. We thrive in relationships. Our relationships in many ways are part of what makes life meaningful. As a counselor, along with helping people learn new coping skills, learn to process various emotions, one of the things that I'm doing is I'm encouraging people to build up their community, to build up people who care for them and are positive influences in their life.
As our community continues to grow, the bonds that we share with each other continue to get stronger. So someone walks into our room and we've never met them before, and it's like instant family. You know, you feel like we're all part of the same thing, we all have the same goal. So it's really cool to come into a room and just always feel welcome no matter what's going on. We start every meeting talking about our highs and talking about our lows, and the people around you genuinely care.
As I share my story, not only for me did it help reduce the shame I felt about what I went through, but also opened up the floor for people on this campus to talk about what they had going on. It's amazing to me how many people, it still amazes me how many people have been affected by substance use disorder in one way or another. And I'm happy that we provide an opportunity to talk about it.
The main thing that I'd hope that people would take away is that no matter what they're going through, they're never going to be alone. Even if somebody in their family hasn't gone through it, even if their friends haven't gone through it, there's always going to be people there to back them up and support them, whether it's try and talk them through it while it's happening or just be there to pick them up when things do fall apart. There is always going to be people there to help you through whatever it is you're going through. And that's what we as an organization, I think, are really striving to do, to show people that you are never alone.
So I think one of the greatest lessons that I learned from being a part of the CRC was that when you're really passionate about something, if you start sharing that, it becomes contagious to the people around you. And especially when it has to do with stigma and discrimination, when people see lives being changed, it humanizes it, and it starts to change their mind about what recovery is. And I've been able to carry that with me outside of the campus.
Advocacy is something that we believe is really important for the Collegiate Recovery Program, and I think that there's a lot of pretty significant misconceptions about what a substance use disorder is.
So where I want to start with this is there's two stories, right? There's my addiction story, and then there's my recovery story. I tend not to dwell in the addiction story anymore. The most misunderstood thing about addiction, in my opinion, is that it's a personal choice. I feel that it is not a personal choice to continue to harm both myself and the people that love me the most because I can't stop using. At a point, it was no longer my choice. I had to continue. I was compelled to continue.
And because there's such a misunderstanding of what an addiction is, advocacy is needed. Advocacy is needed to educate people that an addiction is a disease. Just like cancer is a disease, just like heart disease.
The reality was that in spite of the fact that I was using drugs and drinking in excess, I was a really productive person, and when I wasn't sort of like in the grips of my addiction, I was a likable person, you know, and often when we think about addiction, we think about what it robs people of, which is, you know, everything, but it also, we forget that like underneath all of that, I was still Alyssa, and I was still a person who had goals and interests. So I think as a community, if we can talk about addiction and substance use disorder and recovery as things that are happening on campus every single day, you know, it kind of changes the way that we look at it as happening someplace else, someplace distant from us.
One of the things that's essential to what we're doing here and getting the word out and supporting our advocacy pillar is tabling. It seems like such a simple event, right? Standing at a table, telling people what we're about. It turns out that sharing my experience with people at these tables not only got the word out about the collegiate recovery community, but as I share my story, not only for me did it help reduce the shame I felt about what I went through, but also opened up the floor for people on this campus to talk about what they had going on. One of my favorite events that we do here is something called Recovery High School Day.
We had a few, I think 4 high schools that were made for people going back to school after dealing with these kind of like substance use disorders or just any sort of trauma.
Recovery High School Day was a really amazing opportunity because it was interesting seeing students who had little or no interest in college or not even sure what they were going to do after they graduated high school come to a great school like this and really see the freedom and opportunity going to college will provide for someone.
We showed them around the school, we told them about how student life is, and tried to just open their eyes a little bit to the fact that this is something that they can do. This is something that they can really pursue and fight after. And it was an incredible experience for us because I know me personally, I got 2 girls to say, wow, I didn't know that I could do this. Like I really would love to go to college someday. And it was very, not only empowering for us, but just awesome to see them feeling that hope and see this new door being open to them.
So we've had a lot of different events this semester. Some of my favorite are the dinner and discussions that we've had. We had one on finding your happiness. We had another recently on how to deal with a loved one who is struggling with substance use disorder, how to support them. We have weekly meetings at 4 p.m. on Wednesdays, usually in Forcina Hall in our lounge, which you're seeing a little bit of it right now.
To advocate for recovery, we do a prescription drug take-back day every year, which this year is on April 26th, and is where people can come and deposit their unused or unwanted prescription drugs. And it's really good to have the campus community see that we're here for them, that Campus Police is here for them, that they have a safe place to do so.
Something we did a lot earlier this semester, we had a lot of guest speakers come in, whether they be people from other organizations such as ourselves or people from health and wellness centers, and they came in and would give presentations that were open to the public. It wasn't just for students to come see.
How do you really reduce stigma? I mean, the best way to reduce stigma is by us being successful, right? And so when you look at collegiate recovery, it fights, collegiate recovery pushes back against the soft bigotry of low expectation and the assumption that people with substance use disorders can't succeed.
We do advocacy through doing the Narcan training. We think that it's really important for students to be equipped to learn how to use Narcan because saving a life allows that person the opportunity to recover. One of the things that I like to say a lot is I like to say that recovery is not only possible, but it's common. And through providing Narcan training to our students, we're able to potentially give somebody a chance to recover that they wouldn't have had if they were to lose their life to an overdose.
So aside from having an NA and an AA meeting on campus, the collegiate recovery community has been working to start an all recovery meeting, and that's for anybody who's had any type of substance use disorders, traumas, mental illness, eating disorders, anything you can name, that's what we're here for. So whether you're stressed for like a test, you know, one day out of like the whole week, you can come by and you can just sit down with people and talk about it. And it's cool because like we're breaking down stigma by having all these different people in the same room, and we each enjoy each other's company, and I'm looking forward to starting that in the fall of 2019.
What makes TCNJ unique with their collegiate recovery program? For starters, there is a full-time staff member, which is myself, whose sole purpose is to support students in recovery and to support the development of the collegiate recovery community. So our program receives a lot of support that not all colleges are able to offer. So one of the things that we offer to support people who've been impacted by substance use disorder is counseling services. And this covers a variety of experiences. This could be somebody whose family member has experienced a substance use disorder and they want to talk about that. We're able to offer them counseling to help them through that part of their journey. We're also able to offer counseling to people who are in various stage of the recovery process, recovery journey. We can provide counseling to somebody who has experienced some problems related to their alcohol and other drug use, and maybe it's not a substance use disorder yet, or maybe it's on its way of progressing, becoming a more severe problem. But we're able to offer support and counseling to somebody who is just starting their journey, and we're able to offer counseling services to people who have identified as being in recovery and want support in maintaining and making those changes.
Oh, Chris Freeman. I can't help but smile. I have so much respect for this man. He is a relentless advocate for recovery. He is one of the hardest working people that I've ever met. Beyond that, he's a kind, caring, and compassionate man. Chris is my counselor. I receive counseling. It's one of the parts of the collegiate recovery program here is access to counseling. And I've been seeing Chris wear many hats, including his counselor hat and his advisor hat, for the past year and a half. The man has helped me tremendously. I'm so happy for him to see the program develop as it has developed, and it's by no accident that it's happening. It's due to his hard work and dedication to not just TCNJ's collegiate recovery program, but recovery as a movement. And Chris, if you're watching this, thank you.
I absolutely love working with students that are in recovery and the allies of recovery. I am so inspired by them and so motivated by them. I am so proud to be able to say that I have played a role in their story and in their experience. Sometimes we talk and joke about students in recovery being underdogs and how much we love underdogs in America. And sometimes I tell them that they are now joined the ranks of Rocky Balboa. They've now joined the ranks of Rudy and even the little engine that could, right? They're underdogs, and they are overcoming incredible obstacles. But when we talk about them being underdogs, I also like to remind them that even Rocky had his Mickey. Every underdog does have somebody in their corner. And I feel incredibly privileged to be that person in their corner, to believe in them when they don't believe in themselves. And this job provides a level of satisfaction that is just amazing, to be able to do what I do, to help people achieve their absolute best selves, or at least move forward in achieving their absolute best self, because this is a lifelong, continuous journey.
Welcome to Recreate Your Fright.
The idea of breaking the concept that you have to use alcohol or other drugs to have fun is interesting and challenge, and it's a step-by-step. But once again, when you get those students that are doing that, let it be heard, let it be known.
So the thing I love is our balance of the real important, effective events, and then the stuff that we do for fun, just to provide something else for people to do if they don't want to be going out and partying. They can come hang out with us.
We also offer Recreate Your Night. This program is supported by the Collegiate Recovery Program, but it's run by the Department of Recreation and Wellness, and it's late night activities that are substance free. So it's for students who are in recovery, but it's also for anybody who wants to have fun, and gives them choices for activities that don't involve alcohol and or other drugs.
So my name's Courtney Van Leuven. I am the late night coordinator for the Rec and Wellness office. So I work with the Recreate Your Night, which is the late night programming that is Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights from 8 to 11, 8 to midnight. So we work a lot with the Collegiate Recovery Program and the community, the student organization. They help promote our events, we help promote their events. We're striving to do the same thing in the sense of connecting students, supporting students, creating a welcoming, fun environment where students can be safe. So we really work well. A lot of the students that are in that program come to our events and feel welcome.
One of our most successful things we just did was we ran a haunted house with the Recreate Your Night staff, and that was an absolute blast. It was so fun to have people coming through and not expecting much, but really getting scared walking through it. Things like the 90s and the Halloween party, those were fantastic.
I had a lot of fun at the 90s party that we had back in September, the end of September. It was just a really cool opportunity to meet like a bunch of new people. We had like a great turnout. We had, you know, a costume contest, we had music, we had fun. It was just a really chill environment, and people were fun to talk to. And
we just decorated the business lounge, and everybody that came just had a blast. It was such a casual, laid back, just fun environment. And just a place for people to get together and just have a good time. Like, we met a lot of the people that are in the CRC now were just people that came out to parties like that.
So in January, 8 of us in the CRC went to the ARHE Student Leadership Summit, which was really fun because we all got to ski, we got to snowboard, we got to go in the hot tub after all of our leadership conferences, and we just got to bond with each other and the other CRCs in the US.
So yeah, our programs definitely give students an opportunity to make connections, to connect with the friends that they may already have, whether it's their roommate, classmates. I see a lot of students come together and they laugh and they're doing an activity together, but I also see a lot of students who come by themselves.
whether because they had nothing to do and they wanted to join us, or they may not have connected with people yet and they're coming to our programs to make friends. I see them come and they sit down, and it's a relaxed way and a kind of a common ground where people can come and talk, and you can just talk about the program, and it's an easy starter to make friendships. So this year we have hosted a lot of really exciting events, some that are kind of crowd favorites that the students love. We did a waffle night where the students, we made the waffles for them, and then they could fill in the toppings. We've done mini golf, and that was blacklight, so really, really cool. Students really enjoyed that.
And Recreate Your Night has done some pretty cool things. One of my favorite things that they've done is battleship canoes. And what they do for this is they are in the college pool, and they're rowing around, and they're trying to sink the other person's battleship by throwing water into their opponent's canoe.
It's important to have fun without substances because you can form like really genuine relationships. You know, being with people in the CRC and going to Recreate Your Night events isn't like going to a party where, you know, you're under the influence. It's more of like forming bonds that can last a lifetime with people where you don't need anything else to have fun.
I've met many friends through the CRC, and I've just met a lot of people in general going to CRC activities. A lot of people show up and we're doing really fun things, so it's a great opportunity to bond and make really strong connections with not only the people in the CRC, but the people around the campus.
Right, so you look at alumni that came through the College of New Jersey. I'll just name a few that are open about their recovery, so I'm not outing anyone, but like Jesse, Eric, Alyssa, that are all in this room right now, they're not just successful recovering drug addicts. They're successful citizens. They're successful human beings.
I think learning and growing go together, that the more I learn about myself and the world around me, the more I can grow as an individual. And a lot of the lessons that I learned, just being a part of college in general, have carried on, but uniquely to recovery, I learned a lot within the CRC, about values, about investing in myself, about mastery over my work, about investing in relationships, and investing in my community, and how important that is, not just for myself, but the world around me.
Does anybody really know what they want to do with the rest of their life? So I have an idea and I have a plan. I'm going to apply to organizations that are involved in disaster relief. I would like to work in immediate response disaster relief around the world. So the way I live my life today is all about helping people. My draw to disaster relief is actually very closely assimilated to my experience in recovery. Before I came to recovery, I was at a point of despair and hopelessness. I felt like there was no hope. In a disaster situation, someone has lost everything. Their life has been flipped upside down, turned over, and oftentimes they don't see the hope. They're hopeless. People in my story showed up for me in this time. In the recovery community, and my family showed up for me and told me that there was hope. I want to be this person in areas that have been affected by disasters.
No, yeah, I do miss the CRC. It was fun, it was part of my routine. It was a really great opportunity for me to be able to experience what it feels like to be a part of something that I enjoy doing, to know what fulfilling work feels like.
I think alumni in recovery are critical to supporting the CRC. So not just students in recovery, but advocates, allies, because we have lived experience and we have connections in the real world, and we have the ability to say, you know, I walked through X, Y, and Z, and I did it as a person in recovery, and you can too. My advice to any student in early recovery, especially a college student, is that you are no different from anybody else on campus, and that your lived experience is going to enable you to help so many other people, right? That this is, our substance use disorder and our active use was one of the darkest parts of our life, but when we come out of the other side, we have so much experience that we can share with other people. And not just people in recovery, or not just people who are struggling. You know, and we have the ability to do so much. And sometimes I think who we are gets lost underneath our substance use. And often, you know, the only way that we know how to connect with other people is through that piece of our life. And the reality is that my history with drugs and alcohol is the least interesting part of who I am today. And I would say for anybody that's on campus and early in recovery, the world is yours, and you have so much to offer and so much to learn, so much to be taught, so much to carry it to other people, that just keep trucking, and it's going to be amazing. You know, stay here, take this experience in college and run with it, because you have the ability to change the world.